It works. So how many introverts are there today? I'm one of you. So this is my second time public speaking, and earlier on, Alison, the keynote speaker, was saying that there is always something that's unexpected that happens in a conversation or a real life, and I think today in the conversation we're having about open hardware, it is me. So welcome to my presentation. My name is Justyna Ausareny, and if you're interested in some of the projects I did in the past, you can check out my blog, devinet.me. So after studying and working in design and computing with different communities for a couple of years, today I would like to talk to you as a maker and as a graduate student who for the last couple of months was conducting research on movement impairments and developing a low-cost technology for motion analysis and scientific exploration. I also want to talk to you as an independent researcher working with elderly people, families, therapists, and primarily I want to talk to you as a granddaughter who's trying to understand what's up with my grandma and what does it mean to get old and how can we change the meaning of it. So first of all, I would like to share with you my prior experience with collaborative offices such as makerspaces, hackerspaces, and Fab Labs. There are many terminologies and context and location-based characteristics of these spaces, but they do have things in common and all serve as a point of exploration of different cultural tendencies, collaboration perspectives, boundaries of creativity, and directions of new media and technology. Also, they provide these exciting opportunities and fill out the gap in the education system. So for me, making things provided me this childlike playful experience with technology, materials, and sciences. And ever since, I've been treasuring this connection quite a lot. So DIY making is considered to be a particularly effective way of learning and engaging people since it requires knowledge exchange and collaboration. And there are so many different groups working with children, encouraging women. There are many groups in the developing countries working with the local communities. But what about elderly people? Is there a way we can use similar approaches to engage our grandparents? So this is my grandmother, and she's my inspiration and motivation for this project and my master's studies. She suffers from motor impairments. Nonetheless, she's most active among plants and trees. And when I was choosing this project, I was actually thinking of something I could connect to on a personal level. So that's why I chose to work on motor impairments. And I thought that it's really interesting to actually talk about aging as well as technologies for elders, because yes, they're most of the time technologies for elders. And I find it a little bit not satisfying. So also, I feel like sooner or later we're all going to be there, so it's quite relevant to all of us. And why? Because in the developed countries, life expectancy has increased significantly, consistently over the past couple of decades. And in the United States, the proportion of aging population increased from 4% in 1900s to 12% in 200s, and nowadays the seniors actually represent 14.5 the number of 14.5%. So meaning that every 1 out of 7 people is 65 years old or older. So in Canada, there are already more seniors than children aged 15 years old. So somehow elders are not the focused group. I don't know why. Because we're going to be among elders in the couple of years, and there are not going to be that many young people, so who's going to talk for us? What are we going to do about it? And moreover, elderly people are often viewed as less important. So there are a few old age simulation projects that I like and I think are very useful. So now for a minute, let's take a break and let's imagine how it feels to be old. So think of 5 most enjoyed activities, 5 most valued possessions, and 5 most loved people. Now, lose of them, one by one, until you have nothing left. So it's quite drastic, no? But this is how most of the time it happens. And moreover, this group is neglected. So now it's going to be a little bit more about my master thesis. So one of the main causes of disability in the aging Western world is stroke. It is caused by interrupted blood flow that leads to loss of neural tissue, and there are about 16 million of stroke experiences, first experiences happening every year. And it is also referred to as a brain attack because it's an actual attack that leads to behavioral, cognitive, and perceptual problems that affect the ability of the affected person to maintain a normal life. So, moreover, about 40% of people get mistreated, and 55 to 75% actually suffer from motor dysfunctions. So there are various scales that have been developed to standardize these neurological impairments and actually to evaluate the cognitive and physical impairment as well as the effect of the impairment on the independence and the activities of daily living. So the most popular test, actually, maybe some of you know about it, you have heard about it, is called Fugl-Meyer, and it aims to provide an impairment index of motor and function and balance, and it's conducted through observation of performance. So obviously the most popular clinical test is very difficult to interpret because it's hard to generalize the results, it's hard to quantify the recovery, and the measurements can be actually interfered by the senses as well as other experiences of the therapists. So I wanted to address the problem of clinical studies and learn more about motor function, and also implement metrics that could provide us insights about quality of movement. And also as a designer, I'm interested in testing different design methodologies. And I think it's important before prototyping tools for people and with people. So I used a platform, open platform with accelerometer, gyroscope, a Bluetooth interface, and AIP address for rapid prototyping. So in the first study, I conducted it in Barcelona at Pompeu Fabra University. I actually asked 24 people to help me to evaluate the wearable for the hand and to I also wanted to know about the healthy behaviors that are associated with movement qualities such as movement planning, coordination, accuracy, efficiency, ease, and smoothness. So I could spend easily the entire 15 minutes talking about one of these measures, but the most important thing is that also they relate to impairments that affect stroke patients, such as loss of samatha sensation, abnormal muscle tone, and paresis. So the subjects in the study, they had to perform 2 tasks, circle drawing and reaching movements that were conducted in both unconstrained and constrained fashion. So the constrained was actually a rubber band that was restricting the freedom of the movement. So we can see the results of it. And so the system is great because it's very easy to conduct scientific explorations that with a technology that costs less than $40, and we can also quantify quality of movement, draw correlation between parameters, and also look at different rehabilitation scenarios and simply see what works the best for who. So we can see a correlation between smoothness and movement planning, and practically the less strategic thinking there is, the smoother the movement is. And also the rubber band has a very positive effect on the smoothness results. So it can be used in many different interesting ways. So the second study, the last one, actually aimed to tackle the question, what motivates elders to engage in activity? And I wanted to provide an insight on the effect of social networks on non-compliance and performance, and see whether rehabilitative tasks are socially relevant. So I had 5 participants selected by the therapists of the Canadian-Polish Welfare Institute, the long-term care center in Montreal, Canada. And during the activity, patients actually drew 2 stars. The first star was presented simply as a task, and during a regular physiotherapeutical session. And the second star was presented to them as a social activity, whose actually result will be then shared with members of the community, the patients, the public, and the therapists. So even though the population size was very small, it's not about that. The socially motivated drawing activity has had way higher scores, and I also conducted some ethnographic studies, and interesting things started happening during this experiment. So these results suggest that increasing public participation in motor recovery could enhance rehabilitative practices and also add another meaning to the tasks. So it's not just a physiotherapeutical activity, but it's something that we actually can care about more. So moreover, the second socially motivated activity increased engagement and participation in the study. Many patients have shared with me their concerns and motivations and aspirations, often related to communication. All of them talked about their relatives, and 2 of them indicated the fear of not being good enough. So, more interestingly, the social aspect of this exercise has sparked curiosity of other residents, and it was so great to see, because many of the older people simply give up and are not curious anymore, and are not trying to engage or have a conversation about something. So this is my last slide. While working on this project, I found that collective identities create very powerful networks that enable projects to move further and take different forms. I didn't know at the beginning what I would be doing, but I knew what I was interested in, and I knew that I wanted to work across different communities. So the open tech in this case provoked many discussions with therapists and families who indicated the feelings of powerlessness and non-understanding of the medical conditions. And also I could simply develop different scenarios and do a rapid validation of the ideas. So it was a very non-intimidating tool to use, and across actually continents. So following that strand of research, I envision a future in which we engage elderly to do different activities. So we actually can work with the communities surrounding them and also design with them rather than for them. So one of the most important issues that I feel we can prevent is the non-compliance. So actually, many of the elderly people feel like they don't want to participate, but we can simply change that by adding more communication means. And many of you know how easy it is now with sensor fusion algorithms to reconstruct different movement patterns during a drawing task, a figure drawing task, which is a very popular one in the rehabilitation. So we can share this result via visuals, and we can share this via we can share this also via text messages, and have more of a culture of support. Moreover, we can have screens that visualize these efforts and give these people a little bit more of an importance. We can create networks between different care units, so older people with motor dysfunctions often feel like they're the only ones suffering. But no, there are people with palsy who are very, very young and who are actually suffering from similar deficits. So we can engage both sides and use the same technologies that can engage people to be more active and actually to indicate that they're important. So now my wearable is not that impressive. It is very simple and it is not personalized, but I think that every person is different, and the technology should also be unique for each patient. So, and who knows patients better than the patients themselves and their family members? So my last message is that let's do hackathons with elderly. Let's try to prototype tools and create a bigger community around this problem. And I really believe that we can do things together and make aging a meaningful and interesting process. Thank you.